The number 216 is the number of God to the Jews. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. This is my dad's birthday. It's also my nephew's birthday. My sister died on this day. My husband tried to kill me on this day. I woke up this morning to another female death on this day. My current apartment address is this number reversed. It's 0612. It's a unique number. See the synchronism of it. The number 216 is very significant, if not well-known number. It is George Washington's birthday. It is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Today is the day we move from Capricorn to Aquarius. It is right on that line of Pan between the head of the goat and the body of the man. The number 216 is very significant, if not well-known number. This becomes apparent when one multiplies 6 times 6 times 6 and receives the results of 216. The connection to 666 is amplified by its presence in the Darren Aronofsky's film Pi, where the protagonist stumbles upon a hidden code in the universe, a 216-digit number which a group of zealous Jews believe to be the true name of God. In the printout of the 216-digit number, the number 6 can be seen in the beginning, second, third, and fourth rows, forming a vertical 666. The idea of a 216-letter name of God is actually taken from real Jewish history and belief. The 216-letter name of God, the Shem Hamphoras, is actually derived from 3 verses in Exodus, verses 19, 20, and 21. Each begins 72 letters long. 72 times 3 is 216. We've been through this number. Each was written out as a string of letters. Verse 19 on the top, and 20 underneath, and in the reverse order, and 20 under that, as the ox plows. Read top to bottom and right to left. The 3 lines of 72 letters yield 72 individual 3-letter names. The number 72 connects to 216 again in the time frames involved and the precession of the equinox. Each of the 12 ages lasts for 2,160 years, and the Earth takes 72 years to move 1 degree in the great year. The connection to 12 continues beyond there being 12 ages, and that the entire cycle lasts about 25,920 years, which is 216 times 120. In a circle, 216 is the number of God, and that leaves 144. Let's do this. Let me show y'all something. When you talk about 72, you're talking about this right here. Each one is 72 degrees. And we just read that 3 times 72 is 216. Oops. Is 216. Well, that leaves 2. If there's 3 times 72, that leaves 2. And 2 times 72 is 144. And the total is the 360-degree circle. When you talk about this symbol, base 6, and this one is base 5, you can also get the 360-degree circle here, but not with the 216. It's on the different stroke. So this one is feminine. That's why the Freemasons use it. And when you see this symbol for the circle, it's masculine. So you have the matriarch and the patriarch. The matriarch's colors are black and white. The patriarch's colors are yellow and red, like McDonald's. You'll find the patriarch colors there. So when you're looking for the 144,000, are the 1/4. Let me get a clean one up here. The word thousand is always represented by the K. And that's the spirit, it's the ka, and a house. It's the key. So you have the ka and the key. So you have 144K. Keep talking about those big red Ks. 144 key from the 216. And it gives you this. And this. And you have to know the difference between the two. This one is predominantly a symbol for the changing of the ages. It shows up out of the mystery school in architecture every time we move from one age to another. The arrows pointing up, the pyramids pointing up, representing air and fire, the patriarch, and the ones pointing down representing water and earth, the feminine. And they have to go together. You have to have masculine and feminine for creation to be. Today is 2/16 in February. I just told you we just moved from Capricorn to Aquarius, and both are ruled by Saturn, which is God of heaven and earth. Heaven Capricorn, earth, heaven Aquarius, Capricorn, earth. Capricorn, North America. Aquarius, South America. All of the constellation houses are represented by countries and continents around the world. Africa was the age of Taurus. Aries was the age of Asia, the Middle East, Orient, the Orient. And the age we're in is the age of water. Pisces is the age of Europe. And we're now moving into Aquarius, which is actually two houses. The two are one under Saturn. It is that goat with one horn between his eyes, one power, and he comes from the west and covers the whole face of the earth. They want you to believe that's a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. When you're reading in the Old Testament, you need to understand which God is speaking. And they're always going to demonize the other gods, especially our Father who art in heaven. There's only one. That's Saturn. The other Father in heaven would be mutable air, would be Mercury. But he's mutable. He changes. And then you have cardinal air, which is represented by Venus, or as Lucifer. And don't confuse. When you think these beings are demonized, you got to remember who is demonizing them. And that's back to the gossip of the numbers. 2 times 16 equals 32, connecting it to the 23 enigma. The number 216 is used by secret societies. The U.S. nuclear testing program had 216 above-ground blasts. The Mars cycle that was used to mark the event, like many war intervals, Mars returns to the same place in the sky every 47 years in relationship to the Earth and the Sun. It started on 16th of July 1945 when the Trinity test, and ended in 1992. That is 47 years. Plus take 1992 and subtract 1776, and it is 216 years. If you go from 1st AD, starting of the Gregorian calendar, then 9 times 216 is 1945. Of course, when you talk about 10, that's 2,160. The 2160 math has been used against Christianity and humanity for that number. 16 July is a ritual date. 16 July 622 is the start of the Islamic calendar. 16 July 1054, total number of blasts in the U.S. nuclear testing program. The RCC had the first major schism in the church, and the Eastern Orthodox Church, Vatican II, was 911 years later in 1965. 1054 minus 622 equals 432 years, or 216 times 2. The Romanov family was massacred on July 16, 1918. That is 864 years later from 1054, which is the sun math. That is 216 times 4. There are 864,000 statute miles in the diameter of the sun in the false heliocentric model. There are 864,000 seconds in the Babylonian design sexagesimal time system currently used. The Transamerica Building, which is the tallest pyramid in the world, is 864 feet without radio towers or other embellishments. A third of the precessional equinox is 8,640 years. According to the late great David Flynn, true north went into the sign of Draco and the eye known as Thuban to the Egyptians in 6,627 BC. In that age, 88 pyramids were built for the modern day, 88 constellations. 6,660 years later, in fulfillment of Revelation 12, true north exited through the tail in 33 AD when Christ was crucified on the cross on the 3rd of April 33 AD. Take and subtract 660 years from the third 8,640 years. It is 1980, which is the dedication year of the Georgia Guidestones on the Skull and Bones date of March 22, or 322. Everything is connected to everything else. Number gossip. 216 is the smallest untouchable number, which is also a cube. Plato's number. Plato alludes to the fact that 216 is equal to 6 to the third power, or 6 times 6 times 6, where 6 is one of the numbers representing marriage, since it is the product of the female 2 and the male 3. Plato was also aware of the fact that the 216, making it the smallest cube, that's also the sum of 3 cubes. 216 is the number of colors in the Netscape web-safe color palette. 216 is the smallest magic product of 3 by 3 multiplicative magic square. 216 is the smallest abundant cube. 216 is the smallest cube that is also the sum of several consecutive cubes. 216 equals 27 plus 64 plus 125. It also is 216 plus 144 is 360.